I'm going to keep this intro short and sweet. These are 10 tips that I'm always surprised most iPhone owners have no idea about, despite the fact that they can make a huge difference to how you use your phone. Okay, let's get into it. If you have an article open in Safari and you want to send it to someone, just press the share button at the bottom, choose messages, and a link to that article will be created and added to your message. But if you want to highlight a specific part of the article, you can do that too. Before tapping share, tap and hold on the text, then drag to select the passage that you'd like to highlight. Now press the same share button and choose messages again. The link that gets created will still point to the full article, but the specific text that you selected will be quoted in the message, helping you get your point across more clearly. And in Mail, there is a similar trick. If you're replying to an email, but you want to reference a particular section, just select the text before tapping the reply button. Whether you choose reply all, or forward, the message that you send will include only the selected text rather than quoting the entire email. A really clean way to focus the conversation. If you go to the Photos app, select a photo and then share it, you'll see a section at the top of the share screen that tells you the photo's location is being included. You can tap into options and disable location sharing for that photo, which is a really important step if you'd prefer not to reveal exactly where a photo was taken. Now, I mentioned in a recent video that there wasn't a way to turn this off at a system-wide level, and that is still mostly true, but there is a workaround. If you go into the Messages app and tap the plus button in the bottom left corner, then choose Photos, you'll get a preview of your photo library. Swipe up to expand this view fully, and in the bottom right-hand corner, there is a filter button. Tap on this, and you'll find an option to disable location sharing from here. The useful part is that your selection here is remembered moving forward. So as long as you're sending photos through Messages, and as long as you do it via this route rather than directly from the Photos app, this does act as a sort of system-wide block on sending your photo location. This next tip is an old one, but it's a really good one, and I still find that almost nobody I speak to actually knows about it. You can create a custom vibration pattern for a specific contact in your address book, which means that even if your phone is on silent and vibrating on your desk, you would still know who's calling you just from the feel of the vibration. So to set this up, go into the Contacts app and find the person that you want to assign the vibration to. Tap Edit in the top right corner of the screen, then scroll down until you see the section for ringtone and text tone. You can assign a custom vibration for either calls or texts. Just think about which one this person uses the most when they contact you. Tap into ringtone, for example, then tap haptics, scroll to the bottom, and under the custom section, you'll see an option called Create New Vibration. Tap that, and you'll be taken to a screen that says Tap to create a vibration pattern. This is where you use your finger to tap out a custom vibration. You can get creative here if you want. You've got about 10 seconds to work with, but you can stop at any time by tapping Stop in the bottom right corner. Once you're happy with the pattern, press play to preview it or tap record to do it again. Then press save in the top right corner, give your new vibration a name, and it will be assigned to that contact. Now, whenever that person calls you, your custom vibration will play. So many of the best features on the iPhone use artificial intelligence. And speaking of AI, let me introduce you to this, the HoverAir X1 Pro Max self-flying camera drone. This thing is genuinely amazing, and it's a solo content creator's dream. You just unfold the drone, place it in your hand, and with a couple of button presses, it takes off from your palm and starts tracking you automatically. And the best part is you don't need your phone, you don't need to set anything up, and you don't need to pilot it. It identifies you and follows you based on whatever mode you selected at launch or by itself. In this footage, I took it out on a dog walk. I launched the drone and it just followed along, capturing stunning 8K video with rock-steady footage thanks to the dual-axis gimbal and electronic image stabilization. It really is a set and forget product, and when you see a moment that you want to capture, HoverAir can get it instantly. And that was just a dog walk. If you're into sports, cycling, skiing, running, whatever it might be, this thing can keep up. It's got a top speed of 26 miles per hour with bursts up to 37 and even has dedicated cycling and skiing modes. It also has rear active collision detection and proximity sensors, so you can trust it to fly itself without worry. And if it ever does hit something, it's built from ultra-strong, ultra-light, highly elastic material that maintains structural integrity. The company even includes a little sample piece in the box to test, and I couldn't damage it at all. And tracking is just the beginning. If you want more creative shots, like a bird's eye view or a smooth halo-style orbit, it can do that too. No piloting, no fiddly controls, just pick a mode, send it off and let it do its thing. The 8K footage, as you can see, is incredible. The HoverAir X1 Pro Max is honestly one of the most exciting bits of tech I've tried in a long time. And if you'd like to get your hands on one, follow the link in the description. And if you buy between July 8th and 11th using my link, you can get up to 30% off. If you use Apple Music and you're listening to a song that's just got you feeling some sort of way and you want to share that moment with someone, there's a really nice way to do it. While the song is playing, look for the lyrics button in the bottom left corner of the main song view. This will only work on songs where Apple Music has identified the lyrics, so do keep that in mind. Tap the lyrics button, then scroll to find the lines that you want to share. Long press on the first line and you'll be taken to a share sheet. From here, you can scroll through the lyrics and tap to select a few lines that you want to send. Usually up to about 4 lines is the sensible limit. Once you've made your selection, tap Messages and choose the person that you want to send it to. A link to the song will be generated showing the specific lyrics that you selected, making it a really thoughtful and personal way to share music. A tip that I think gets overlooked far too often is just how good the search function in the Photos app has become on the iPhone. With most of us now having massive photo libraries full of everything from photos and videos to screenshots and saved images, Apple has really focused on making search as simple and as powerful as possible using natural language. So from the main library view in Photos, tap the blue magnifying glass to access the search box. Then just type in what you're looking for. You could say something like beach walks with dog, and your iPhone will automatically look for any photos or videos that match that description. You can even refine it further by saying beach walk videos with dog, and your phone will show you only the relevant video clips, filtering out the photos. It's surprisingly accurate even with brand names. Try searching Ford car or Audi car, and it will usually identify the make correctly and bring these photos to the top. You can also use keywords like red car to search by color, or type in something like 1 year ago to take a nostalgic look back at what you were up to this time last year. One more powerful search tool here is sound. If you type in something like clapping or cheering or laughing, and you see a waveform icon next to the result, that's your phone's way of letting you know that it's found a video with that specific sound in it. It's a brilliant way of finding exactly what you need quickly without endlessly scrolling through your photo library. One of the worst things you can do is send a password over messages. Even though the app is encrypted, it is still way too easy for that password to be seen by someone that it wasn't meant for. A much better and more secure method is to use the built-in password sharing features on your iPhone. To do this, open the Passwords app, unlock it, and tap the button that says New Shared Group. If your iCloud account is already set up as part of a family group, you may also see an option to start sharing with your family directly. This skips a couple of steps since your iPhone already knows who's in your family group. But sticking with the general example, after tapping New Shared Group, give the group a name, then tap into Add People to select another iCloud user from your contacts. The person you're sharing with must be in your contacts for this to work. Once you've selected them, tap Create in the top right corner. Now you can scroll through your saved passwords and move any that you want to share into this new group. Don't worry, moving a password into a group doesn't remove your access or change the way that it works for you. It just makes it accessible to the people that you've added to that group. After you've shared the password, you'll normally be given the option to notify the other person via messages, but that's entirely up to you. They can also just go to the Passwords app on their own device, tap into the Family Group section, and accept the invitation from there. From that point on, if someone in the group visits a website that uses one of the shared passwords, the password will be available to autofill just as if they'd saved it themselves. And if any of the shared passwords are updated, that change is automatically pushed to everyone else in the group, keeping everything in sync without you needing to do anything. The Health app on your iPhone is great for tracking your steps and general activity, but there are a couple of extra data points that you can add that make it much more useful for monitoring your overall health. And I find that most people don't know about these, specifically medications and symptoms. Let's start with medications. Open the Health app and tap Browse in the bottom corner. Then tap Medications and choose Add Medication. You'll follow a few steps here, starting by giving the medication a name, selecting the type, so whether it's a tablet, capsule, or liquid, and you can also add things like the strength if you like, and then set how often you take it, whether it's once a day, multiple times a day, or only as needed. Once that's set up, your medication will appear in the medication section of the app. If it's something you take as needed, you'll tap the As Needed Medications button whenever you take it. If it's scheduled, your iPhone will prompt you with reminders, and each time you log a dose, it will create a complete history that you can view later. Then there's the Symptoms feature. Go back to the Browse tab, scroll down and tap Symptoms. Here you'll see a list of symptoms that you can log, things like coughing, bloating, dizziness, or headaches. Tap into the one that's relevant, then press Add Data in the upper right corner. You'll be able to set the severity of the symptom and add a start and end time if needed, and then save it. Both of these features give you a central place to log and view your health over time, and they can be really helpful if you ever need to share accurate information with a doctor or health professional. If you go into the Passwords app, you'll see a section in here called Wi-Fi, and this is where all of your Wi-Fi network codes are stored. These let your iPhone automatically reconnect to networks that you've joined before. If you're watching this at home and you're currently connected to Wi-Fi, the network that you're using should be shown right at the top with a connected status next to it. You might already know that if a guest is visiting and you want to give them easy access to your Wi-Fi, even if they're not using an iPhone, you can tap into that network and then press Show Network QR Code. This will display a scannable QR code that they can use to connect instantly. But what you might not know is there's another really handy option for when you need to manually enter a Wi-Fi password into a third-party device. If you tap into the Wi-Fi network and then tap the password, you'll see it displayed in small text. But if you long press on that password, you'll get an option called Show in Large Type. When you tap on that, the password appears in large, bold characters, and even better, each character is color-coded. Capital letters, lowercase letters, numbers, and symbols all appear in different colors, making it so much easier to read and accurately type in. Perfect for when you're dealing with long, complicated passwords. You probably already know that on your lock screen, down at the bottom, there are two buttons. By default, the one on the left turns on your torch and the one on the right opens the camera. You can change these, which you might already be aware of, but what you might not know is that you can actually set different lock screen buttons based on the focus mode that you're using. So for example, if you've got a work focus mode, you could set the lock screen buttons to launch apps or controls relevant to your job. Or if you've got a personal focus mode, you could set them to toggle things like music or reminders. And one example I gave someone recently, if you've got a sleep focus mode, you might want to set one of these buttons to toggle reduce white point. That way, if you wake up in the middle of the night and glance at your phone, it doesn't blind you with full brightness. So here's how you'd set that up. You'll need to already have a sleep focus mode created. I won't go through how to do that here, but there are other videos on my channel that cover it if you need a refresher. So with that in place, open Settings, scroll down and tap on Focus. Make sure that you've got a sleep focus mode ready. Then come back out, swipe down from the top right to open Control Center, tap into Focus and switch to Sleep. Now lock your phone and tap on the lock screen. Long press until you see the Customize button and tap that. Then tap again on the lock screen preview to edit it. Now tap the little minus button next to the camera icon in the bottom right corner, since there's probably no need for a camera shortcut in sleep mode. Tap the plus button to add a new one, and in the search box at the top, type in white. The first result should be reduce white point. Tap on that, then press done in the top right corner. That's now been added to your sleep focus mode. And just to prove it's focus specific, go back into Control Center and switch from sleep mode back to your regular personal focus mode. And you'll see that the reduce white point button has disappeared from your lock screen. This final tip works best if you've got an Apple Watch, but it still works well without one. The Voice Memos app on your iPhone is one that I've struggled with in terms of how to use it, but lately I found a really useful way to make it part of my daily setup. I use it to quickly store short snippets of information that I know that I'll want to remember later on. So for example, if I've just parked in a multi-story car park and I want to remember the exact location, let's say level 4, row E, I'll open the Voice Memos app on my Apple Watch, which I've got saved as a shortcut, and just hit record and say, the car is parked on level 4, row E. That recording is then saved on my watch, but it also syncs via iCloud with the Voice Memos app on my phone. Then when I want to find the information later, I don't even have to play the recording. I just go into the Voice Memos app on my iPhone, tap into the relevant memo, and then tap the little waveform icon in the bottom left corner, followed by the speech bubble icon. That brings up a transcript of what I said. So in this case, it'll just tell me exactly where I parked the car. You can use this method to record and recall anything that you like. And while I wouldn't necessarily recommend filling the app with hundreds of recordings, it is worth knowing that there is a search feature built in. Just go to the main screen of the Voice Memos app, swipe down slightly, and you'll see a search bar. You can use this to search both the titles and the transcripts of your memos. So as long as a transcript has been generated, even if you don't remember when you made a recording, you can still find it based on what you said. So there you go, 10 amazing things that your iPhone can do right now. 10 tips that I reckon most people have absolutely no idea about. What about you? Were any of these new to you? Or is there a tip that you think more people should know about? Drop me a comment and let me know. And as ever, if you found this video useful, do please consider leaving me a like and subscribing to my channel for more content like this in the future. See you on the next video.